Revenge films.
My wife cheated on me in the living room of our house. It was never obvious to me that my wife was cheating, but my neighbor warned me that a man had been visiting our house lately. That's how I knew the affair. One day, on my way home from work, one of our neighbors stopped me on the street and told me,
"I've noticed that a man I've never seen before has been going to your house lately. Is he your brother or your wife's brother?"
That's what my neighbor asked me. I don't have any siblings, and I don't have any cousins living near me. Also, my wife and I don't have any mutual friends. That is why when I heard what my neighbor told me, the first thing that came to mind was my wife might be cheating on me. However, I didn't want to say that to my neighbor, so I just responded that the man is a friend. I managed to look unbothered in front of my neighbor, but deep inside, I was quite shaken. I was very overwhelmed, so I decided to talk to my friend about it. My friend has a past of being cheated on by his ex-wife. They're divorced now. He advised me to maintain my composure while recording and gathering pieces of evidence. It was quite expensive, but I decided to buy several tiny cameras. I asked my friend to help me set the cameras up in various places in the house when my wife was not home. My friend advised me to maintain my composure, but it's easier said than done. Ever since I heard my neighbor tell me about the man, I couldn't look my wife in the eyes anymore. Our neighbor told me that a man I'd never seen before has been visiting our house lately while I was at work. If my wife had an affair with that man, it would mean that my wife cheated on me several times already. I couldn't keep calm whenever I thought about that. About 2 weeks after my friend and I installed the cameras, we decided to check if we got any evidence from them. I was shocked and disappointed by what I saw. The cameras clearly captured my wife and the man having an affair. I was astonished and utterly speechless. After gathering all the pieces of evidence that I needed, my friend asked me what I was going to do next. What he meant was whether I would forgive my wife or get a divorce. Frankly speaking, I was unsure of what to decide. I had a very difficult time thinking about it. One does not easily dislike someone just because they were told to dislike them. But that doesn't mean what she did wasn't unforgivable. Even just doing it once is unforgivable. But to do it several times? That's beyond crazy. What's even more crazy is that they did it in the house where I live. A few more days passed, but I still didn't know what to do. However, I finally realized that I couldn't continue living with her in this house. Knowing that she betrayed me in the same house, it's difficult to pretend that nothing happened and continue being together. To cut to the chase, I decided to grill my wife with questions with divorce in mind. Then, the next day, based on the recordings that I saw, I knew what time my wife's secret lover would arrive. I also knew that he always left 30 minutes before I arrived home. That's why I decided to go home early that day, and I checked that the man was in the house. I then waited outside the house until the man came out 30 minutes before I was supposed to arrive home from work. Just as expected, the man opened the door and was about to leave. He froze when he saw me standing outside. Behind him was my wife, who had an affair with him literally just minutes ago. She was very shocked when she saw me, so she covered her face. I then instructed both of them to go back inside. I blocked the door so they couldn't leave. They had no choice but to go back inside the room. When I arrived in the living room, I saw a used pack of condoms on the table. They must have done it here. I was about to throw up, but I forced myself to hold it in. I then shouted, "You're cheating on me, aren't you?" To which my wife ignored the man and replied,
No! You're the only one that I love, Albert.
She made an offhanded remark, while I was waiting for my wife by the front door. Honestly speaking, I still had feelings for my wife. However, now that her secret lover was in front of me, and my wife easily said in front of the man that I was the only one she loved, I was sure she told him the same thing just minutes before I showed up. I couldn't believe she could look me in the eyes and say such words to me. I was nervous about grilling her with questions, and I was worried about how I should be feeling when doing that. But once I didn't have feelings for her anymore, everything else was pretty easy to do after that. I realized that you were having an affair when our neighbor informed me that a man she had never seen before was coming to our house when I wasn't home. So I bought a couple of cameras and installed them around the house. I already have all the pieces of evidence that I need, so there's no point for you denying that what I claim is not true. With a straight face, that's what I told my wife and her secret lover. By the way, I already got my wife's secret lover's life investigated. Apparently, he lived with his parents. As for his work, he wasn't a full-time employee, but a part-time worker. I had no idea how he and my wife met, but frankly, I didn't care about that anymore. After I learned how the man was living, I sent a letter addressed to his parents, scheduled to arrive on the same day. That day, about the fact that he and my wife were cheating, and I also sent a content-certified letter stating a compensation claim. When I told the man about what I did, he went very pale, like he saw a ghost or something. Well, no matter how much he regretted his actions, he couldn't stop his parents from reading the letter, because I was sure it already arrived. In the meantime, I allowed the dazed man to go home for the time being, and I decided to talk to my wife, one-on-one. I knew that if her secret lover ran away, he didn't have enough money, because he lived with his parents. Also, since I already told both his parents about the fact that their son had an affair with my wife, I was certain that even if I didn't do anything, his parents would probably look for him. Then, after her secret lover went home, I told my wife that I wanted a divorce, to which she replied that she didn't want to get a divorce. Before all of this happened, since I earned enough for both of us, my wife became a full-time housewife and stayed at home. That's why she probably thought that she couldn't let go of her comfortable life with me.
I will make up for my mistake of having an affair, even if it will take me a lifetime. So please, forgive me. I know you have a huge heart. Please, find it in you to forgive me. I beg you, Albert.
My wife apologized to me again and again, but to my surprise, I didn't feel anything at all. Before I came home, I stopped by the government office to get a copy of the official divorce registration form. I then said to my wife, "I'm sorry to say this, but instead of making it up with feelings, compensate me with money. I don't want to continue being married to you from now on, and I don't want to live in a place where you had an affair, because it's disgusting! I'm planning to sell this house immediately."
Oh no! If you sell the house, what should I do? Where should I live?
I don't know, and I don't care. Figure it out yourself. I won't allow you to tell me that you didn't know what it means to cheat, or you didn't know what the consequences are of that act. Go back to your parents' home, or find work and live on your own.
No! It was just a passing fancy. You're the only one I truly love. I was just fooling around with that man.
My wife crumbled and started screaming and shouting while crying. But from my point of view, I was thinking, why now? I would never allow her to say that she didn't know the risk and what the consequences of her actions were. She was a full-grown adult. I knew that she knew what she did. What's worse is that she brought the man home every time, so I couldn't help thinking how she truly was an idiot. I already told her earlier that I sent the proof of the content of infidelity to her parents, so my wife clung to me, begging me to reconsider. Even if she did that, my feelings were set, so they wouldn't change anymore. It was very strange as to why she had an affair in our house when she knew that she'd have to show disgraceful behavior. Whatever the reason, I didn't have anything else to talk about with my wife anymore, so I let the lawyer take care of everything else. I then packed up all of my things and left the house. Honestly, even while I was grilling both of them with one question after another, I felt nauseous breathing the same air as them, in the same room where they had an affair. So I wanted to leave the place as soon as possible. After that, I asked my friend to let me stay for a while at his house. As for the house, I immediately contacted the moving company to move my things. I hired another company to clean the entire house, to prepare for the house to be sold in the market. After I left our previous home, I heard that my wife went home to her parents' house, and when she arrived there, her father stalled her face. She called me while crying, but I hung up the phone immediately. Actually, apart from sending the proof of contents about the affair at his parents' house, I also sent a copy to his workplace. I have no idea what my wife's secret lover's parents said to him when he ran away and went home, but what I heard is that he was kicked out of their house that same day. As for his workplace, I heard that since he wasn't a full-time employee and he just worked part-time there, he was let go pretty easily. As for my ex-wife, her parents cut off ties with her and kicked her out of their house. She sent me the same message over and over, asking me to help her with her situation. We already got a divorce, and I didn't have anything I wanted to do with her anymore. So as a final blow for my revenge, I demanded a $10,000 alimony from both of them. My wife's secret lover cried, saying he couldn't pay that amount. But that wasn't my problem to worry about. I would confiscate all the money that he currently had, and I was planning to make them pay a certain amount monthly to make sure that they paid the consequences for their actions. No matter how hard they work, their money will just directly go to alimony payment. I think that they should feel wretchedness and misery while regretting and repenting for their unforgivable actions.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.